Discipline is not a feeling. It is a decision you make every single day, especially on the days when you don't feel motivated. Too many people wait for inspiration before they take action, but the truth is that inspiration is unreliable. If you build your life on emotions, your results will always rise and fall with your mood. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not necessarily the most talented or the smartest. They are the ones who learned how to command themselves. They understand that success begins with self-control, not circumstances. Every dream demands a price, and that price is discipline. The future you desire cannot be built with excuses, procrastination, or comfort. It is built through consistent actions repeated over time. Every morning you choose whether to obey your comfort or your purpose. Every hour presents a decision that either moves you closer to your goals or farther away from them. Discipline is choosing what matters most over what feels good right now. There will be moments when your body tells you to quit, your mind tells you to wait until tomorrow, and your emotions tell you that you deserve a break. Those are the moments that define your future. Anyone can work when they feel excited. Anyone can remain committed when everything is going well. But true character is revealed when you continue moving forward without applause, without immediate results, and without motivation. That is where discipline separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. You cannot control every opportunity that comes your way, but you can always control your preparation. Every disciplined day strengthens your mind. Every completed task builds confidence. Every promise you keep to yourself increases your belief that you are capable of achieving more. Confidence is not created by positive thinking alone. It grows from repeated evidence that you can trust yourself to do what needs to be done. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against other people. It is against your own excuses. Every excuse sounds reasonable in the moment. You are too tired, you are too busy, you will start next week. But excuses have never built successful lives. Excuses create temporary comfort while silently stealing long-term opportunities. Discipline demands that you stop negotiating with your weaknesses and start honoring your commitments. The people you admire have difficult days too. They experience setbacks, disappointments, and moments of doubt. The difference is that they refuse to let temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. They understand that consistency beats intensity. Small disciplined actions performed every day eventually become remarkable achievements. Greatness is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built in thousands of quiet moments where you choose discipline over distraction. Your habits are writing the story of your future. Every repeated action becomes part of your identity. If you consistently choose discipline, you become a disciplined person. If you consistently choose comfort, comfort becomes your lifestyle. Your identity is shaped by what you repeatedly do, not by what you occasionally promise yourself. Stop waiting to become someone different before acting differently. Start acting differently today, and your identity will eventually follow. Discipline is freedom. It frees you from regret because you know you gave your best. It frees you from fear because preparation replaces uncertainty. It frees you from dependence on motivation because your habits become stronger than your feelings. The disciplined person does not have an easier life. They simply have greater control over their choices, and those choices create greater opportunities. Every sunrise gives you another chance to become stronger than you were yesterday. Every challenge is an invitation to grow. Every obstacle is an opportunity to prove that your commitment is greater than your comfort. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait until life becomes easier. Force yourself to take the first step, then the next one, and then another. Over time, discipline will become your greatest strength, your greatest advantage, and the foundation upon which every lasting success is built. Discipline begins with a decision, not with a feeling. Too many people believe they must first feel inspired before they can take action. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect moment to begin. They tell themselves that tomorrow will be better, that next week they will have more energy, or that someday they will finally be ready. But life does not reward people who wait for perfect emotions. Life rewards those who make a commitment and honor it regardless of how they feel. Your emotions are constantly changing. One day you feel confident, the next day you feel uncertain. One morning you wake up energized, another morning you wake up tired. If your actions depend on your feelings, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline demands that you move beyond emotions and begin operating from decisions. A decision has power because it remains firm even when feelings disappear. The moment you decide that your purpose is more important than your comfort, everything begins to change. You stop asking yourself whether you feel like working. Instead, you ask yourself whether the work needs to be done. That simple shift changes the direction of your life because your choices become guided by commitment instead of emotion. Feelings are temporary, but decisions shape your future. Every successful person understands that emotions are unreliable leaders. Motivation can inspire you for a day, but discipline keeps you moving for years. There will always be mornings when your bed feels warmer than your goals. There will always be evenings when entertainment seems more attractive than preparation. There will always be moments when quitting appears easier than continuing. Those moments are unavoidable. The difference between winners and everyone else is not that winners never experience those feelings. The difference is that they refuse to let those feelings control their actions. They understand that emotions come and go like the weather, but purpose remains constant. When you allow your feelings to become your leader, you surrender control of your future to something unstable. But when your decisions become your leader, you develop consistency. Consistency is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Every time you act despite not feeling like it, you strengthen your character. Every difficult choice makes the next disciplined choice a little easier because your mind begins to accept that action is no longer optional. It becomes your standard instead of your exception. Most people overestimate the importance of motivation because motivation feels exciting. It creates energy, enthusiasm, and confidence. But motivation is like a spark. It can start a fire, but it cannot keep the fire burning forever. Discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire alive long after the excitement fades. Every meaningful goal requires work that eventually becomes repetitive, difficult, and sometimes boring. No one feels excited every single day about studying, training, building a business, improving their skills, or developing themselves. The excitement eventually fades, but the responsibility remains. This is why discipline becomes far more valuable than motivation. The disciplined person understands that progress is created through repeated action, not repeated excitement. They no longer wait for the desire to appear before they begin working. They begin working first, knowing that action often creates momentum. Once you start moving, your energy begins to grow. Your confidence increases because you are making progress. Your focus becomes sharper because your attention is no longer trapped in overthinking. Action creates clarity while waiting creates doubt. Discipline teaches you that your responsibility is not to feel ready. Your responsibility is simply to begin. Every important achievement in life is built upon decisions made during uncomfortable moments. The easy decisions rarely change your future because everyone can make them. Anyone can wake up early when they feel fully rested. Anyone can exercise when they have endless energy. Anyone can remain focused when there are no distractions. But life does not measure your character during easy moments. It measures your character when everything inside you wants to quit. Those are the moments where discipline proves its value. Every time you choose responsibility over comfort, you strengthen your ability to make better decisions in the future. Your mind begins to realize that discomfort is temporary while achievement is lasting. Instead of fearing difficult moments, you begin to expect them. Instead of running from challenges, you recognize them as opportunities to grow stronger. The disciplined individual understands that every difficult decision is an investment. The reward may not appear immediately, but every disciplined action deposits something valuable into your future. Over weeks, months, and years, those small deposits grow into extraordinary results that others often mistake for talent or luck. The greatest transformation in your life will occur when you stop asking yourself what you feel and start asking yourself what your purpose requires. Feelings are centered on the present moment. Purpose is focused on the future. Feelings ask what is comfortable today. Purpose asks what will matter years from now. Every decision you make is either strengthening your future or weakening it. Every choice is shaping the person you are becoming. When discipline becomes your guide, you stop making emotional decisions that satisfy temporary desires but create lasting regret. Instead, you develop the habit of making purposeful decisions that may require sacrifice today but produce freedom tomorrow. This mindset changes everything because your life is no longer controlled by changing emotions. It is directed by clear priorities. You understand that every disciplined choice is building trust within yourself. Each time you keep your word, even when nobody is watching, your confidence grows stronger because you know you can rely on yourself. Self-confidence is not built by talking about success. It is built by repeatedly proving to yourself that you will do what you said you would do. Your future is determined less by how you feel today and more by the decisions you consistently make every single day. A single disciplined decision may seem small, but repeated decisions create habits, habits shape character, and character determines destiny. Every morning presents an opportunity to choose discipline over delay. Every hour presents an opportunity to choose focus over distraction. Every challenge presents an opportunity to choose growth over comfort. The people who accomplish remarkable things are not people who always feel motivated. They are people who have trained themselves to obey their decisions instead of their emotions. They understand that feelings cannot be trusted to build a meaningful life because feelings constantly change. Decisions create direction, discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates results. When you learn to act because you have decided rather than because you feel inspired, you gain control over your future. Your circumstances lose their power to determine your actions. Your emotions no longer dictate your performance. Instead, your commitment becomes stronger than your comfort. Your purpose becomes greater than your excuses. And every disciplined decision moves you one step closer to becoming the person you have chosen to be. The greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over another person, but over yourself. Many people spend their lives trying to control situations, influence others, or change circumstances beyond their reach, yet they ignore the one area where they possess complete responsibility, their own mind, choices, and actions. True strength is not measured by how many people follow you or how much power you possess over external things. Real strength is measured by your ability to control your own thoughts when negativity appears, your own emotions when pressure increases, and your own actions when temptation invites you to take the easier path. Anyone can remain calm when life is comfortable. Anyone can make wise decisions when there are no challenges. But self-mastery is revealed when everything around you becomes difficult, yet you refuse to surrender control of yourself. That kind of discipline creates a foundation that no obstacle can easily destroy because your stability comes from within rather than from circumstances outside your control. Your mind is the command center of your life. Every action begins with a thought, every habit begins with a decision, and every achievement begins with a belief. If you cannot govern your own thinking, you will constantly be controlled by fear, doubt, and distraction. Negative thoughts often arrive without invitation. They tell you that you are not capable, that the journey is too difficult, that someone else is more qualified, or that failure is inevitable. If you allow those thoughts to remain unchallenged, they slowly shape your behavior. Eventually, your actions begin reflecting your fears instead of your potential. Self-mastery requires that you become aware of what you allow to occupy your mind. You cannot stop every negative thought from appearing, but you can decide whether it deserves your attention. The disciplined person learns to replace destructive thinking with purposeful thinking. Instead of focusing on limitations, they focus on possibilities. Instead of dwelling on obstacles, they search for solutions. Instead of feeding fear, they strengthen faith in their ability to continue moving forward. A disciplined mind becomes a powerful ally because it learns to serve your purpose instead of your emotions. Mastering yourself also means taking responsibility for your actions without making excuses. It is easy to blame circumstances, difficult people, lack of opportunity, or unfortunate events for the condition of your life. While challenges are real and obstacles exist, your response to those circumstances always remains your responsibility. The moment you begin accepting ownership of your choices, your life begins to change. Responsibility is empowering because it reminds you that your future is still within your influence. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. Every disciplined response strengthens your character. Every time you choose patience over anger, focus over distraction, honesty over shortcuts, or perseverance over quitting, you are exercising authority over yourself. These choices may seem small in the moment, but they gradually develop a person who cannot easily be shaken by adversity. Self-control is built through repeated moments where you refuse to let your impulses become your master. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin responding intentionally. and that difference transforms every area of your life. Emotions are valuable because they reveal how you feel, but they were never designed to govern your decisions. Feelings constantly change. Some days you feel confident, while other days you feel uncertain. Some mornings you wake up with excitement, while other mornings you struggle to find energy. If your life is directed by these emotional changes, your progress will always remain unstable. Mastering yourself means acknowledging your emotions without surrendering to them. You recognize that fear does not have to stop you from acting. You understand that frustration does not have to produce poor decisions. You realize that disappointment does not have to become defeat. Emotional maturity grows when you stop allowing temporary feelings to determine permanent actions. The disciplined individual learns to remain committed even during emotional storms because purpose becomes greater than comfort. This ability creates consistency. While others stop whenever they lose motivation, the disciplined person continues because commitment has become stronger than emotion. That consistency eventually separates them from those who rely entirely on inspiration. Your habits reveal whether you truly possess self-mastery. Anyone can speak confidently about discipline, but daily routines expose what a person genuinely values. The way you spend your mornings, the choices you make with your time, the conversations you entertain, the information you consume, and the responsibilities you complete all reveal who is actually in control. If distractions constantly interrupt your focus, then distractions are controlling your life. If comfort repeatedly replaces responsibility, then comfort has become your master. But every disciplined habit strengthens your authority over yourself. Waking up when you plan to wake up, completing important work before seeking entertainment, maintaining focus despite interruptions, and honoring your commitments all reinforce your ability to govern your own behavior. These actions may not attract public attention, but they develop private strength. Over time, those repeated victories over yourself become more valuable than victories over circumstances because they create an inner stability that remains firm regardless of external conditions. The person who masters themselves becomes difficult to defeat because their greatest source of strength is internal rather than external. They no longer depend on praise to remain motivated or favorable conditions to remain productive. They have trained themselves to act according to principles rather than impulses. When setbacks occur, they adjust instead of giving up. When criticism comes, they learn instead of becoming discouraged. When opportunities are delayed, they continue preparing instead of becoming impatient. Their confidence grows because it is built upon discipline rather than temporary success. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to practice self-control, strengthen character, and reinforce the habits that support long-term growth. Over time, this consistent mastery of thoughts, emotions, decisions, and actions produces a life marked by stability, resilience, wisdom, and purpose. The person who conquers themselves possesses a strength that cannot be easily taken away because they have learned that the most important leadership they will ever exercise is the leadership of their own life. Growth has always required discomfort. There has never been a meaningful achievement that came without sacrifice, persistence, and the willingness to endure difficult moments. Yet many people spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort, believing that an easier path will somehow lead to greater success. They search for shortcuts, instant results, and effortless progress, only to discover that nothing truly valuable is built that way. Every worthwhile destination demands that you leave behind the comfort of where you are. The person who desires physical strength must endure challenging workouts. The person who seeks knowledge must embrace long hours of learning. The person who wants financial success must accept the discipline of planning, working, and making wise decisions. Every dream asks the same question: are you willing to become uncomfortable long enough to become stronger? The answer to that question determines how far you will go. Comfort may feel pleasant today, but it rarely prepares you for tomorrow. Discomfort, on the other hand, stretches your abilities, sharpens your character, and reveals strengths you never knew existed. One of the greatest misunderstandings about discomfort is believing that it is a sign you are moving in the wrong direction. In reality, discomfort is often evidence that you are growing beyond your previous limits. Think about every important skill you have ever developed. At first, it felt awkward, difficult, and unfamiliar. You made mistakes, struggled to understand, and questioned whether you would ever improve. but with every repetition, your confidence increased. What once seemed impossible gradually became natural. The same principle applies to every area of life. The discomfort you experience today is preparing you for abilities you will rely on tomorrow. If you quit every time something feels difficult, you never remain in the process long enough to experience transformation. The challenge is not to eliminate discomfort, but to change the way you view it. Instead of seeing it as an obstacle, begin seeing it as evidence that your capacity is expanding. Every difficult moment is an opportunity to develop patience, resilience, wisdom, and discipline. Those qualities cannot be purchased, inherited, or borrowed. They are earned through the willingness to remain faithful during uncomfortable seasons. Temporary comfort often creates permanent regret. It feels harmless to delay important work, skip today's responsibilities, or choose entertainment instead of preparation. In the moment, those decisions provide relief because they remove immediate pressure. But while comfort satisfies you for a few minutes, it quietly steals opportunities that could have shaped your future. Months later, many people look back wishing they had started earlier, remained consistent, or refused to quit when things became difficult. Regret grows from the repeated choice of comfort over commitment. On the other hand, temporary discomfort produces lasting rewards. Waking up early may feel difficult, but it creates productive mornings. Studying when others are relaxing may require sacrifice, but it opens doors that remain closed to those who never prepared. Working through challenges may demand patience, but it develops confidence that cannot be taken away. Every disciplined sacrifice becomes an investment that continues paying dividends long after the discomfort has disappeared. The pain of discipline lasts for a moment, but the rewards often remain for years. Discomfort also reveals your true priorities. It is easy to say that your goals matter when pursuing them requires little effort. The real test comes when your dreams demand sacrifice. When you are tired, will you continue working? When progress seems slow, will you remain patient? When distractions compete for your attention, will you remain focused? These moments expose what you value most. If comfort consistently wins, then comfort has become your priority. If purpose consistently wins, then your future begins to reflect that commitment. Every difficult choice becomes a declaration of what matters most in your life. Successful people are not people who enjoy discomfort more than everyone else. They simply value their future more than their temporary convenience. They understand that every meaningful achievement requires saying no to immediate pleasure in order to say yes to lasting fulfillment. This mindset transforms sacrifice from something negative into something meaningful, because every difficult decision is connected to a greater purpose. There are moments when growth feels invisible, and those are often the moments when discomfort becomes hardest to endure. You continue working, but the results appear small. You continue improving, but others fail to notice. You continue making sacrifices while wondering whether your efforts are making any difference. These seasons test your commitment more than your ability. They challenge you to trust the process even when external evidence seems limited. During these periods, many people abandon their goals because they mistake slow progress for no progress. But true growth frequently happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Just as roots develop underground before a tree reaches toward the sky, your discipline, resilience, and character are becoming stronger even when no one else can see it. Every uncomfortable day spent honoring your responsibilities is strengthening the foundation upon which future success will stand. Those invisible victories eventually produce visible results, but only for those who remain committed long enough to experience them. The people who achieve extraordinary things understand that discomfort is not their enemy. They stop running from difficult conversations, demanding responsibilities, challenging opportunities, and unfamiliar situations because they recognize these experiences as teachers rather than threats. Every challenge increases their confidence because each obstacle overcome becomes proof that they are capable of handling even greater responsibilities. Instead of asking how they can avoid difficulty, they ask what the difficulty is preparing them to become. That perspective changes everything. Fear loses much of its power because growth becomes more important than comfort. Every disciplined decision strengthens courage. Every sacrifice develops greater endurance. Every challenge overcome expands your capacity to accomplish more than you once believed possible. Over time, discomfort becomes less intimidating because you have experienced its rewards repeatedly. You understand that temporary sacrifice is never wasted when it produces lasting wisdom, stronger character, greater confidence, and the ability to accomplish goals that once seemed far beyond your reach. Your identity is not created by what you say about yourself. It is created by what you repeatedly do every single day. Many people describe themselves according to their intentions rather than their actions. They say they are hardworking, disciplined, focused, or committed, yet their daily habits tell a completely different story. The truth is that your actions always reveal your true identity. If you consistently honor your responsibilities, discipline becomes part of who you are. If you repeatedly delay important work, procrastination slowly becomes your identity. This is why your daily choices matter so much. Every decision is casting a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. You are either reinforcing qualities that move you closer to your purpose or strengthening habits that keep you where you are. Identity is not built in a single dramatic moment. It is shaped through countless ordinary decisions that most people overlook. The way you begin your morning, the way you respond to challenges, the promises you keep, and the habits you repeat are quietly defining your character long before anyone notices the results. Many people try to change their lives by focusing only on outcomes. They become obsessed with achieving a goal while ignoring the type of person required to reach it. They want success without becoming disciplined, confidence without developing consistency, or achievement without embracing responsibility. But lasting success always follows identity. When you become the kind of person who naturally practices discipline, success becomes the result of your character rather than an occasional event. Instead of constantly forcing yourself to make the right decisions, those decisions become part of your lifestyle. A disciplined person does not need endless reminders to stay focused because focus has become part of who they are. A responsible person does not wait for someone else to create accountability because responsibility has become their standard. Identity changes behavior from the inside out. Rather than asking yourself how to achieve one successful day, begin asking yourself what kind of person you are becoming through today's actions. Every disciplined choice strengthens the identity you are building, and over time that identity begins producing results almost automatically. Your habits are the strongest evidence of your identity because habits reveal what you truly believe about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who gives up easily, your actions will eventually confirm that belief. If you believe you lack discipline, you will unconsciously make choices that support that identity. But the opposite is also true. Every time you complete a difficult task, every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you choose purpose over comfort, you are sending a new message to your mind. You are proving that you are becoming someone who follows through regardless of circumstances. These repeated experiences reshape your self-image. Confidence no longer depends on positive words or temporary emotions. It grows because you have accumulated evidence through consistent action. Every disciplined habit becomes another reminder that you are capable of honoring your commitments. Over weeks, months, and years, this evidence becomes stronger than the doubts that once limited you. Eventually, discipline no longer feels like something you are trying to practice. It feels like the natural expression of who you have become. A powerful identity is developed in private long before it is recognized in public. The world usually celebrates visible achievements, but those achievements are built through unseen moments of discipline. Nobody applauds the mornings you wake up early to prepare. Few people notice the hours you spend learning, improving, or refusing distractions. No audience watches you when you choose responsibility over convenience or persistence over excuses. Yet those private decisions are shaping the person you become. Character is built when nobody is watching because those moments reveal whether your standards depend on external recognition or internal conviction. The disciplined individual does not perform only when others are present. They maintain the same commitment in private because discipline has become part of their identity. They no longer require praise to remain consistent because their greatest motivation comes from remaining faithful to their own principles. This private consistency eventually produces public excellence, but the excellence is simply the visible result of years spent strengthening character behind the scenes. When discipline becomes your identity, setbacks lose much of their power to discourage you. You no longer define yourself by one failure, one mistake, or one disappointing result because your confidence is rooted in your character rather than your circumstances. You understand that temporary failure cannot erase the disciplined person you have become. Instead of giving up after making a mistake, you simply returned to your habits because they have become part of your life. You no longer rely on emotional motivation to recover because your routines continue carrying you forward. This creates remarkable resilience. Challenges no longer interrupt your progress for long because discipline always brings you back to your purpose. Every obstacle becomes another opportunity to reinforce the identity you have built. Instead of asking whether you are capable of continuing, your habits answer that question for you. You have already proven through consistent action that you possess the strength to keep moving. That confidence becomes one of your greatest advantages because it is built upon real experience rather than wishful thinking. The person who allows discipline to become their identity experiences a transformation that extends into every area of life. Their work becomes more consistent because excellence has become their standard. Their relationships become stronger because they can be trusted to keep their commitments. Their decisions become wiser because they are guided by principles rather than temporary emotions. Their confidence becomes deeper because it is supported by years of faithful action. Their future becomes brighter because every disciplined habit continues producing positive results. They no longer see discipline as something difficult that must be forced every day. Instead, discipline becomes the lens through which they approach every responsibility, every opportunity, and every challenge. It becomes the foundation of their character, the source of their consistency, and the reason they continue growing when others stop. Their identity is no longer shaped by excuses, fear, or comfort, but by unwavering commitment, purposeful action, and the daily decision to live according to the highest standards they have chosen for themselves.